BLASTMUSIC247.com. We're changing the industry one artist at a time.
Hello. I am Melikia K, Courtney, and welcome back to SXP MM365, an English Sanctuary Experience Metamorphosis 365 Growth Podcast. I'm glad you're here with us today, and as always, going to start with gratitude. Thank you. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for watching and hanging out. Thank you for those who are going to be a part of this conversation tonight. Thank you to BLASTMUSIC247 for giving me family home for the podcast. And also to my son, Shine Cromwell of Shine Vibrations, who was talking about me behind my back in a good way and brought me into the family. So beyond happy to be here. And thank you, Troy, for being in the chair. I love having you to push the buttons because I don't know where they be at all time. So as promised, we are in part 2 of 3 with a conversation of, has politics become a religion unto itself? Again, has politics become a religion? Like a whole, for real religion? Because it kind of feels like it. And that's a conversation that we're going to be having today, sharing some thoughts. I've got some incredible people coming to join us. Scott Harrell of Harrell Consulting Group, Angela Sharice, who's freaking amazing, out of California from Love Enlightens. I also have Alice Boswell of Just Me Magazine, all expected to come and just join me in this conversation, an interesting one. And then there'll be more to wrap up the final conversation on part 3. Before we get to that, I do want to share just a couple of thoughts. And then we're going to do things a little bit out of order today, which is fine, because I want to get to a good fluid conversation and not really have it interrupted. So I am not about to give you a recap of last week's. I'm going to say go watch the podcast from last week if you want to get all that information. But this part I am going to share real quick, and then we're going to move forward. So the erosion of secularism, that's a real fun word to say. Mixing politics and religion. We've been doing that for a while. And we are seeing the results of both having them mixed and having them separated. These are my opinions. So I can share my opinions on my podcast, and I welcome y'all to share your opinions in comments. And those to the mic, I welcome you to share truly and honestly from your heart. I don't have no judgments. I got no heaven or hell to put anybody in. Speak your piece. And I'm hoping that in speaking our piece, that it will promote peace and understanding, because we're going to give you a great example of adults having conversation that might be hard to have at your table. All right, so mixing politics with religion can have negative consequences. We talked about that a little bit, and I want to offer you the quick five, the erosion of secularism. When we start mixing that stuff up and we forget to separate that church and state, we have all kind of potential issues and, in fact, issues. These betterers, they come out the woodwork. I'm betterer than you. What I do is betterer than you. My religion is betterer than you. Foolishness. So, and take that to a state level and a federal level. And then we have a bit of what we have right now. How about that? 2, polarization and division. I can say that if I smell the air and just look around a little bit there, a little news here, a little scroll there, even in the workplace, we're talking corporate, we're talking schools, we're talking banning books, we're talking a lot of things. There's a bunch of polarization and division. And I don't even have to say this is my opinion. This is fact. A lot of that behavior currently has been sparked by our current folks in office. How about that? 3, religious extremism in governance. Would you like to wake up and be in a nation that professes Christianity, but don't have a clue on who God is and works to enforce these laws and exact them in your home, at your table, and concerning your children and your body, would you like to wake up and experience that type of extremism in your governance and have creepy things going on that you're just really not comfortable with and not cool with, right? So, number 4, undermining rational decision making. Wouldn't it be wonderful to rationally approach every aspect of life, including governing, including state, including religion, including body autonomy, including mind, including freedoms, including what our children learn, okay? Inclusion, that's a good word, not a dirty word, right? So the undermining rational decision making, over usurping parents' rights and things like that. A lot of things can come from that. I'm not giving you the full breakdown. We're gonna get into that. I'm just hitting you with the top 5 and topics. So persecution and discrimination. We do find that, especially in my beautiful skin, I am witness to and on the receiving end of have been of that persecution and discrimination simply because of the skin I'm in. And I know I'm not the only one. I know I'm not the only one. And then I also have some my pink sisters and brothers who feel like they experience the same thing, and I do not discount their experiences. So we're gonna talk about it today. And those are the 5 kind of like headers that we're gonna a bit glaze over, and we'll get into some questions more and more. But I'm gonna pause right now for those commercials and songs, and I'll be back. Okay, sit tight.
Alrighty. Good evening, everyone. So the Blast Artist Spotlight tonight is my man Elijah Rosario, and this song is called Aura. So let's check it out.
Should've known, baby. Should've known, baby. Should've known, baby. Should've known. Should've known. It's your mind, it's your wave, it's your aura. Wanna get to know you, wanna get to know you. By the way you work those hills, you be dressed to kill. Wanna get to know you, wanna get to know. It's your mind, it's your wave, it's your aura. Wanna get to know you, wanna get to know. By the way you work those hills, you be dressed to kill. Wanna get to know you, wanna get to know. I'm digging your style, I love it when you smile. Any room you walk into, girl, you always shut it down. Got a Coke bottle shape, when you walk I see it shake. Wanna take it off display, come and take a ride with me. Girl, if you just give me time, I'll enhance your mind. If I brought you flowers for no reason, would you mind? Make love just how you want it. Cook breakfast every morning. Before you go to work, we get it poppin', got you moaning. It's your mind, it's your wave, it's your aura. Wanna get to know you, wanna get to know you. By the way you work those hills, you be dressed to kill. Wanna get to know you, wanna get to know. It's your mind, it's your wave, it's your aura. Wanna get to know you, wanna get to know. By the way you work those hills, you be dressed to kill. Wanna get to know you, wanna get to know. I need you in my life, 'cause the way you make me feel, all these butterflies. I said I want you as my own, please let it be known I'm chasing you. 'Cause I follow you through heaven and hell just to be close to you. It's all I wanna do, yeah. 'Cause you know it's your mind, it's your wave, it's your aura. Wanna get to know you, wanna get to know you. By the way you work those hills, you be dressed to kill. Wanna get to know you, wanna get to know you. It's your mind, it's your wave, it's your aura. Wanna get to know you, wanna get to know. By the way you work those hills, you be dressed to kill. Wanna get to know you, 'cause it's your 'Cause it's your mind, it's your wave, it's your aura. Wanna get to know you, wanna get to know you. By the way you work those hills, you'll be dressed to kill. Wanna get to know you, wanna get to know. It's your mind, it's your wave, it's your aura. Wanna get to know you, wanna get to know. By the way you work those hills, you'll be dressed to kill. Wanna get to know you, wanna get to know.
And that was my buddy Elijah Rosario with Aura. And if you are an independent artist or a spoken word poet or up and coming comedian that is looking for some exposure, you can go to BLASTMUSIC247.com and register for free. Blast is also for the fans as well. So if you're a fan of great music, you can also go to BLASTMUSIC247.com, register as a fan, and have access to hundreds of independent music. Blast, we're constantly changing the industry, one artist at a time. All right, Melikia, back to you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And I was over here just getting a little rock vibe. So, what a nice, relaxing song before we get into this conversation. With that, let's go ahead and get some folks up here. Come on, say hello. Hi, Scott. How are you?
Well, Melikia, how are you this evening?
I am well, and I'll be bringing up Angela in just a minute. I wanted to give you an opportunity to introduce yourself, and then I'm going to untie my tongue while I'm doing that. So while you're doing that, introducing, that's the word we're looking for. Let's get that word in order. Go ahead.
Thank you, and I'm humbled and thankful for the invitation to your platform tonight. My name is Scott Harrell. I am the owner and founder of Harrell Consulting Group, a business consulting firm specializing in care of all of your business funding needs. Also, I am the co-founder of Part Rhyme, a poet, and looking forward to having this conversation with you this evening.
I appreciate you. And I did hear some in and out. I'm not certain of what it is, but it kind of gave you a quick of a wave. So I don't know. Hold on, let me check on Angela. I can hear you now.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure. But I didn't see anything spin. So all of the buttons say we are still live, so we're still good. It is a go. And there we go. Bring it to the stage, Miss Angela Charisse for her lovely style. I just said the whole beautiful name. So what would you like for me to call you during this show? And I don't hear you at all, Upbug. Check and see if you're muted.
Can you hear me now?
There. Yes, I can.
Right. So I am Angela Charisse Alley, also known as Angel. I am the founder of Love Enlightens, where we share messages of love to enlighten the soul. Want to focus on the human condition and resolving the human discord through what we call spiritual emotional wellness, which is reconnecting ourselves to our birth of which is in heaven. We believe that we are all made in the likeness and image of God. Therefore, we are love, and want to return to the seed of love. And as we do that and we speak more of love, it enlightens our souls and transforms us. So I will be coming today with that perspective and sharing with you.
That's what's up. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yay. Okay, so I'm happy to have you guys here. I have I'm not sure what's holding up our Alice, but when she comes, she'll arrive. But I definitely stacked the deck today. So today are my logical folks. Today is my thinkers and feelers. I think it's always wonderful when you bring the thinkers and the feelers together, because that's kind of how things get done. Gotta think, gotta feel. So when I reached out to you guys and shared the topic of the conversation tonight, I'm just super and over curious. How did you feel about that topic, and what are your initial thoughts? Has politics become a religion unto itself? Ladies first, of course.
Oh, well, thank you.
Yes, it is.
Well, just a quick check. Can you hear me okay? Or do I need to turn on? Perfect. Okay. So my first thought was, I have been really feeling a lot of feels over the past couple of months, and wondering where to jump in on the conversation. I know you can at any time, but also wanting to harness my energy and think about how to make the greatest impact. And I was asking the Lord about that. And so then you presented with me this opportunity, and I thought it was a great opportunity for me to jump in and to share. What do I think about it? The question was, how has politics become a religion? And my thoughts are that politics, that self-determination itself is the right for people to determine who they are, to determine how they want to live, and to be able to do so without the encumbrances of things like the isms, the racisms, the ageism, and then other things that have not really been acknowledged, especially I think for by other people, by non-Black people who don't understand what the Black experience has been, especially when it comes to things even so much as our hair, and how we are not yet even an integrated America, because there's only 20 states or so, more so or less, that have adopted the Crown Act that says it's okay for me to wear my natural hair that comes out of my head. And this is not something that any other ethnic group has to deal with. So I definitely think we are needing to have a lot of deeper conversations. I think the deeper you go, the higher you ascend. They correlate with one another. You have to go down to depths and touch roots in order to touch the heavens, go up higher. So I think keep that in mind. And then I thought about religion. Religion is not just only the definition of, say, Christianity, Muslim, or, Buddhism, those. It is also defined as our beliefs that we strongly, supremely believe in, and how do we, actualize them? How do we go after them? So I do think that there has been in our democracy, us as individuals trying to, as a society, individually, people are wanting to express themselves, be able to be themselves, whether it is gender identity, their ethnicity, their language, if they are foreigners or, coming in as immigrants. I'm pretty sure people do not want to be called aliens anymore. I prefer not to be called aliens, because we're all human beings. And I think that's important to bring and start changing the language. So I do think we're in a time right now where it is politically fierce, where people have self-determined to be themselves. But I also think we need to hold on to the nucleus that we are, to govern ourselves, to watch the constitution of our own hearts and minds, and also to think about how we come together as a collective, because one person cannot do it on their own. We're not singular. We are a human collective, and that's important to remember and bring that into the governance as we're governing ourselves and thinking about what kind of society we want to live in and create for ourselves now and later.
I love that. And I love the perspective, our own personal constitutions. How are we showing up? What are we living like? Even down to the language. And I always thought it was so strange to be calling somebody an alien. I'm like, especially when I was a child. I'm like, okay. So isn't it interesting that even though we become adults, we still hold on to childish things? So I really do appreciate your answer, and I'm gonna offer the microphone to Scott for what's your thoughts on it. What's your thoughts on it? Has politics become a religion unto itself? And any other thoughts you have that surround it?
I do believe politics has become a religion unto itself, very much so, from the aspect of identity and validation, because with politics the way it is, and the way it's evolved to, nowadays it's not so much about what are the things you support. Do you support more money into education or law enforcement, or do you want to have certain books in the library, or do you want to expand a school lunch program? Now it's, are you liberal or conservative? Are you a Republican or are you a Democrat? And it's as if that divisive identity is thrust upon you because you must identify as one or the other. And so doing validates your existence within that confine. Okay.
Ooh.
And in so doing, automatically puts you not only in a pool, but then juxtaposes you against another, which normally you may not even be opposed against.
Right.
Religion, when you look at politics and religion, okay, and I'm a person of faith. That said, there, with anything that involves people, there is good and there is bad.
Sure.
Unfortunately, with faith, there tends to lean more to not only the hierarchy, but the divisions of what is right, what is wrong, do this to go here, do like them over there, and you'll go there. And you hear now the same level of preaching 6 days a week on cable news that you get on the 7th when you go to church. Aside from
that part.
Aside from the fact that religion and politics has been so intertwined and wrapped around each other, election season, everybody has to make their trips to the church. Okay. And especially, obviously, growing up Black church, they would come around then, and it's like, well, why are you here? If I'm not,
where were you the week before that and the week before that? Go ahead.
If I'm not bumping into you in the parking lot every other Sunday, why are you here? What is going on? I thought there was a certain separation. Why are you here? And then where it really gets so insidious, it gets into that identity of who we are as people, right down to the individual, such as if you identify as, let's say, a conservative Black individual or a Republican Black individual, people will tell you to your face they're going to take your Black card, or how can you be Black? How can you vote against us? And there are groups of people who, if you are involved in politics, that you have to be conscious of where you're speaking, because you're automatically, no matter what you're going to say, you're coming down on a side, as opposed to politics, in my opinion, instead of religion, because religion is supposed to, quote unquote, you have your tenets of faith that you're supposed to follow to get to where you're going, and the love that you have for others hopefully will bring people with you. Great.
That's the most simplified. That's the most simplified. Go ahead.
Politics is supposed to be the coming together of community to be able to discuss and debate issues and create solutions through that.
Right.
The divisiveness and partisanshipness that has been used to make people on supposed opposite sides, which in reality, you just may have a different viewpoint, creates enemies and issues out of things that aren't.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to be able to feed their kids, raise their kids, see them alive, have a home, picket fence, this, that. We all want the same things in this country. And shockingly enough, since I've served and been around the world twice, in every other country, right? We all
Magic.
Live.
They all like their kids, huh?
Yeah.
They all like to live inside too and eat food.
Exactly.
Oh, okay.
We have a lot more in common
Yes.
than we do that we have issues with each other. The problem is, it is easier to divide and conquer than bring people together for a solution. And in that, it has become a religion of division to do so.
So I thought you said so many interesting things. One that was the coolest quick clip on what faith is meant to be. That was the coolest. So we're gonna have to quote you on that one. And then 2, it really struck me this way. Hearing it from your perspective sounds like what I experienced from churches. And mind you, I grew up, of course, in the Colors Church, but I also had access to other churches too, several and many, and frequented them, right? So what I felt so strongly when you were speaking was like literally we could have substituted the terms of politics or bipartisanship or da da da, da, and them on this side and these on this side for heaven and hell. Like it literally comes across so very weird to me, to keep it very simple, that folks immediately, based on political affiliation, Republican, Democrat, immediately you have either entered heaven or hell in somebody's mind. And sadly, that's the only judge and jury some people need. Yeah. To condemn people or to say where they belong or don't belong. And I promise you, it smells like religion to me. It smells of Sundays and segregation. It smells of sending folks to hell with no power to do so, but the power that's yielded, right? So it's such an interesting time that we live in. I think that we do well to have these conversations. I really feel like, yeah, we need to be talking about this a whole lot more. And I did share with you guys some questions, so I am going to pop first question. And then two, I'm not going to be holding hostages today because we do have the debate today, and I do want to respect time for those who not necessarily treat politics like a religion, but do pay attention, right? Want to stay abreast, want to watch these debates, want to understand the candidate that they're voting for. I respect that. That I respect. So I do believe that there is a line that exists where people can intelligibly understand who they're placing into office to govern. And I want to stress the word govern because it seems like it's slid into rule.
Mm.
Yeah. And for me, religion and faith slid into rule a very long time ago. And it feels like it's a left leg and a right leg and one follows the other. So I'm ready to trip them. so we can fall back in the right direction because we're tripping. You're about to say something before I read this question. Go ahead. What are you about to say?
Well, I was just thinking to myself, how everybody needs a boogie, and how much that is utilized not only in churches and in religions, but also in politics.
Oh, it's so playbook, ain't it? It's so playbook.
And
what kind? What did you say? We need a bookie?
A
boogeyman.
A boogeyman. Okay.
And something that is the monster under the bed. And the twofold reason, if you think about it, why? One, you have something else to point at other than yourself. That is the issue. And then the other reason is if you now have something that's supposedly bigger and worse than you can take care of that you're pointing to, now you get to abdicate your responsibility of power to deal with it and say others need to come in and deal with this thing. It's beyond me. We need the government. We need the church. We need the whatever. Instead of you getting involved and dealing with it yourself or what you can. Which is one of the reasons why I think some of the people allow the boogeyman thing to work for them, because it's much easier. It's much easier to say, oh, the illegals. Oh, my God, the illegals. Mm-hmm. Okay. Do you realize how few people legally are here?
Seriously. We won't talk about that part yet. But Angel, did you want to offer anything before I move on to the question?
Yes. I was thinking that when we talk about religion and politics, religion has always been skewed with politics. So when Thomas Jefferson was writing and the Declaration of Independence and "In God We Trust," he even had his own Bible. So he created his own, he took things out, but it is historically known that they brought in God because that's what the Protestants wanted. So that was something to appease the Protestants. It was a negotiation.
Yes.
Also, Christ has always been used as a, depending on what the time is. During the war, he was kicking over the can and depicting Christ as in the 30s as one who was turning over tables. And then when it was through the Depression, it was something more congenial. Nothing has changed. That is something that's probably going to always go on. But I do believe it is up to us individually to understand who we are, and as we go for that self-determination to determine, like you said, people are going to go beyond just they polarize based on
Mhm.
Democratic or Republican. And
Mhm.
I think and what we're dealing with now is the polarization of what it means for Kamala Harris to be a, a woman, to be a Black woman, to be an Asian woman, but more so, this country has lived seriously through the supremacy. Okay, and supremacy is most as white male in America, and that is something that still wants to be maintained. And what the opinion is, or what has been said about us as Black people, are that we are lesser than, and that we are not supposed to have equal parity to our white counterparts. So there's still a continuation of perpetuation of that, and we still have not really, we know as African American people, the what we have to deal with. How much day by day going out do we have to deal with confrontation of someone thinking I am lesser than, thinking that my intelligence is not the same as theirs, that I have to gauge my safety based on how safe do you feel with me? So we don't even have to do anymore. The power of suggestion just goes more away. People just think on themselves, and you suggest something
Literally.
and they start to create their own mind. And this is what's really dangerous, is that people are creating their own narratives, their own things that are really based on things that are untrue, and not necessarily with the concern of getting to know the truth. And
Sure.
then with AI and other things, and like Scott was saying, books that are being taken away, and our
Yes.
information not even completely being shared, us as
Right.
inventors, as contributors, as those who have done wonderful things and being seen as American, and then still to hear other political people saying, there was one, Alina Habab, who said, oh, Kamala, I know where my roots are. Well, don't we all? I mean, and it's nothing to say or take away, even that I am an American, I'm an African American, and my grandparents were sharecroppers. That's part of
Bingo.
my roots. And I
Right.
don't have any problems with that. There's no shame in that. To
None.
try to put on shame on me, no, not at all. Thank God my grandparents, who weren't able to have the education, had to
Sure.
work fields,
Sure.
and my grandmother's on her birth certificate, at the time of her death, I was with my mom, and
Mhm.
I looked at her birth certificate, and it said that she was born somewhere in between
Mm.
on a plantation. I was
Mercy.
told that her address is on a plantation somewhere in between Shreveport and some other place. And I said, my God, this was just a few years ago. I'm looking at her birth certificate and it says
Mercy.
this. So when people want to say that it was so long ago, we have had
No.
more time in American history of discord than we have had of peace.
Yes.
Okay. And so it's really important that we evaluate that and look at, not be afraid to have conversations, not to demonize people, and
Rules.
to accept really that Black people have an important role, that we are people, and you cannot continue. We're not going to do well or thrive in this country or any way otherwise if we continue to polarize ourselves one from another.
And that is a we collective,
Thank you.
because it will not be a we just folks in brown skin. It's gonna be a we collective. We all gonna be mad. Or we all gonna accept one of the two. So we go to this
Malikia, I
question.
can't tell if you're
Oh,
talking.
you hear me?
Go. Yeah, there you go.
Okay,
Okay.
there we go.
There you know.
Sure. So question becomes, does politics hold as much attention as religion? And this is directly for you personally. For you personally, is politics a part of your daily life? And if it is a part of your daily life because of the current cycle, was it before? Or when do you remember it becoming a part of your rhythmic daily life?
Would you
Um,
like? Okay. I
who,
yield.
who would you like?
Okay.
Who would you like
Go
to
ahead,
go?
Scott. Go ahead, Scott. We'll let the gentleman, because you kicked off. Let's go ahead.
All right. So first of all, I will say it's not as to compare it to religion in my life. I
Okay.
would not say that it holds that level of sway, if you would. That's
Attention, not so much the sway, because I'm not worried about the sway yet, but the attention. Is it getting as much attention as your faith or more?
well, in to that point, I would say it's getting that much attention, maybe more. I don't, I you know, my faith is an internal, if you
Okay.
would, and my time in prayer, my time in devotional, my politics. Um, time I have in front of the TV or listening to the latest broadcast of something.
Mhm.
I think the earliest time I remember of my involvement in interest in politics, I remember being a child hearing that Ronald Reagan got shot,
Oh,
the assassination attempt. And that was the only president I knew. I didn't
mhm.
know that could happen, and I didn't know what was going to happen to the country. I was scared as a little kid. I remember sitting at the kitchen table with my grandparents and them praying for the president. And I didn't know, I didn't know what would happen if he died. So I remember watching the news, in coming up watching the news and paying attention to different things. Seeing Reagan go to the Berlin Wall and saying, dear Gorbachev, Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall. Seeing the wall come down. And the start of the Persian Gulf War and beyond. I have watched many a news cycle about things, and for me, it has been about information and to understand the course and trajectory that my country and the world it wants to take, is desires to take or may take,
Sure.
without inherently meaning I have to take that path with them.
Okay. I
This
feel
allows
that.
me to know if everybody's left, why, but doesn't necessarily mean I need to go left.
I respect that. And I offer you the same question, Angel. Has politics, for you personally, does it have as much attention as your faith does?
No, politics does not have the same attention as my faith does. Faith comes first for me. Um, my prayer has been to learn how to love, and so my love, my life, my politics is my faith is to love God, myself, and one another, and I do that on a daily basis wherever I go, however I do, even
Mhm.
from the time of rising to going to bed. And I read a book some years ago called "Pray Before You Forgive Before You Pray," and
Mhm.
so there's also been a process of, even at the end of the day, of restoring, repenting, restoring, and saying, whoever I've been angry at, or using even the experiences that I'm having day to day when
Mhm.
there's a politic that was put upon me that I don't particularly like, that everywhere I go, I know people are looking at me like, there's a Black woman. That's the first politics. It's always
Mercy.
been that way. And I
Yeah.
wish it not to be. And I think, uh, I wonder how other people, I don't think other people or other ethnic groups go through this same type of mentality where, or kind of freedom. And I would absolutely like that. And I go through, and I accept and I love myself undoubtedly, but I do understand what it means, the politics of being a Black woman or Black person in America, and that other people haven't fully caught up. Um, and we live in a time where we're doing a lot of code switching. But I use code switching, for those who don't know, that is where Black people feel like they have to present themselves differently in front of whites or non-Black people to maintain really safety, or to be included in the room,
Yeah.
in the conversation. not to be, if you say one thing wrong, your grammar's off a little bit, then it's a question of your intelligence, and so making sure we speak proper English, and then, but there could be just, a moment when we're just relaxed and hey, and
Sure,
that's
sure.
us. And there's not any kind of mockery about it.
Yeah.
There's no mockery about being who we are, and that's the beautiful thing. And so I definitely feel there's a certain politics about being Black and being safe. But as for my faith, I'm exercising it every day, and that's what's determining the constitution of my heart.
I love that you answered that way, and it's it's very interesting and then very necessary, or at least that's how it comes across to me. I feel like, one, I love politics, so let's be out loud with that. I am a super freaking fan. I enjoy the life of it. I enjoy the being in the game of it, and not sitting on the sidelines pointing and talking crazy and complaining. That noise. So I enjoy that there are folks who are willing to step forward and be like, "Hey, I'll do it." Yada yada, da da da. Like the work that it takes to hold office. It is work. It is work. So I commend those who do it, and I respect them. What I don't respect is the shenanigans, the foolishness, the unaccountability. That's part of that part I could deal with that all day. And to answer the question, I feel like the religion and faith for me, these dang on politics keep me praying. I don't know about y'all. Keep me praying. And this cycle, the last cycle, and many, many before. So it wasn't just like hey, let me care about politics from the last cycle to this one. Been in there like swimwear and caring. And I pray for our leaders. I pray for our elected officials. I pray for everyone who has to experience the answers, questions, results, madness that is our politics, our governing body. It's strange. And then two, I believe in the engaging conversation. I believe in the hard conversation, and I believe in having those conversations on my knees. I believe in talking to God about every last bit of it, because it concerns us all. I love what Troy mentioned earlier when he was offered the opportunity to come be a part of this conversation. It's wise to know what your reasoning, what your outcomes are based on. What is it that you desire when it comes to politics? What is it that you desire when it comes to religion? A lot of times we're reared into it, right? We're directed, this is how you do this, and you come right along and you grab a skirt tail or coat pocket and you follow suit. But then at what point do you stand up responsibly and, one, investigate the religion that you were reared in, two, investigate the politics that you were reared in? And the one thing I can say about my household, and I bless the Lord for it, my mama had a brain, and she openly spoke about these things and was involved. And she, I believe, set the tone for voting responsibly, for sitting your tail down and understanding who your representatives are, down to your local government, who's doing what, and did they do what they said they were going to do? And if they didn't, were they absolutely trying to and possibly blocked by the behaviors of others? So, who are your people who care about the things you care about? And I think that that for me is a freaking everyday thing. It's an everyday thing, and I don't perceive a separation of church and state. I recall I'm grown enough to be in the classroom talking about some of my pledge allegiance to the flag. Okay, under God. Okay, indivisible. So the whole none of that. Like I recall those days. So that is the inundation. For me, I don't know that politics could be separated from religion. And you guys mentioned earlier about how the conquests under the names of a Christ and Christ desires, or the word says and God says, tool. So it really brought me to the question of which one is the tool? Is politics the tool, or is religion the tool, or are both tools? And I throw that up for either one of you if you want to grab it.
Both are tools.
Okay.
Both are tools, and people are going to use them to their advantage as much as they want. Just
Mm,
like Scott was saying, the boogeyman. Any
mhm,
way you can help people or incite fear so that you can create people to come over to your side. Um,
mm.
I want to. I just remember something. Orson
Sure.
Welles,
Okay.
back in the day when people only listened to radio and there was no television, no internet, he had a show, and
Mhm,
everybody listened to it faithfully. This I want you to be aware of. I'm saying this so we can think about how we listen to things and how we process and
mhm,
react to them. So
mm.
he had a show, and people just they listened to him all the time, so they considered him trustworthy, I'm going to say. Well, he did a bit where he went into a play. He wasn't being for real, but he started, the world was coming to an end. Bless you.
Yes.
And people started leaving their homes, and it was pandemonium in the streets. They were expecting for aliens to come down out of the sky and land in front of them. People were crashing their cars, and
Holy
it
Spirit.
went on for about 20 minutes. And then he had no idea how much of this, how that had impacted, society. But people had listened, and they quickly went that fast. So that was at a time where there was just the radio. And
Yes.
we have to ask ourselves now, how are we reacting to when we hear information? I think people have word association. They immediately go there, and they are narrow in on that perspective without looking at a broader perspective and thinking, I have the right to say this in terms of self-determination. You do, but you're just
Right.
not one. You're part of a larger group. And I really feel as
Oh,
though we need to move out of races. I say, yes, there's the difference between race and human. As long as we're stuck in the paradigm of race, there's going to be this ideal of greater than or lesser than. That's
right.
the relationship of it.
Right.
When
That
we
is
move
politics of
into
it.
the diagram, into the mindset, into the belief of humanity, then we are equal. We're not fighting over male, female, transsexual, gender identity. We
Sure.
show up, and you want to know, who are you? How can we be a blessing to one another? Because you have a gift or something in you that is
Hmm.
for me or for the world, and I have something too. What is it like when you create a whole puzzle and you still have piece missing?
Ooh,
That one
irritate.
piece is like not good enough. And I have
Yeah.
to remind myself this, like, I could be that one piece, and we're thinking our one piece is insignificant. But if we bring that one piece, we complete the puzzle, and it makes everybody else fuller. So I want to be in touch with, continue to transform our minds, because it doesn't matter how long these things have been perpetuated. We are still gravitating towards the pull that is within our soul, that is deep within us, that is greater than religion,
It's anchor.
greater than politics. It is something within the
Yes,
soul,
anchor, baby.
we're all connected by it. We're all
Hmm.
trying to find it. And I believe that God can call his children as he sees fits, or she sees fits. God is
Hmm.
both male and female. And we have to stop arguing about, power identity. There is
Right.
power in our own identity, and knowing I'm love. I'm made in the likeness and image of God.
That's
Baby,
it.
I am the manifestation creation of God's creation. You
That's it.
can't tell me nothing else.
Can't tell me that else. I agree.
You can't tell me nothing
So you,
else.
you,
It's all
you
good
say whatever you want to
here.
say, but this is what it is, regardless of what you say. And I love what you shared. Just that you have a very beautiful, loving heart and a very fun nature, and we need you and those like you to be the glue, to be that voice, and open up and speaking out this love, and not sitting on it, because it's I promise you, to me, it's when we're speaking outwardly, we're charging the atmosphere, right? It doesn't just affect us, it's affecting all of the us's that are connected to the us's, right? And so I am really enjoying having this conversation with both you and Scott, and I'm very grateful for your time and that you are here with me. The last question that I want to ask you, actually just a comment. Running your mouth isn't a victimless crime, and kindness isn't criminal. And I'll share it again. Running your mouth isn't a victimless crime, and kindness isn't criminal. I'd like to kind of begin shaping the end of this conversation at that point with the string attached to has politics become a religion unto itself? When it comes to and I love what you shared because it was like so beautifully teeing this thought up. We are responsible for the things we say, and you mentioned Orson Welles, and there's an effect that people commonly speak about, and it's a it's so freaking true. Like, we are responsible for the things that come out of our mouth. Period. He made me, she made me. Because you had the option to shut up, and you open your mouth instead, and you said XYZ. So that is kind of what pushed me to that thought, and I've been sharing the thought for over the course of the last few weeks, and I'll continue to share it because kindness isn't criminal. Kindness isn't criminal. I don't know you guys' political affiliation. I'd never sat down and be like, hey, like, show me your voter's registration. I'm not in the voting booth with you, right? And we understand that. And some people, I believe, are out opening their mouths spouting craziness. My perception of craziness, when they go in the voter's box, they may not be voting to match their mouth. We have to be mindful of that. And then again, the kindness isn't criminal. So I would like to offer you guys each an opportunity to speak on that statement. And then I'm going to invite you guys backstage where I wrap up show. So go ahead, ladies first.
Thank you. Out of the heart, the mouth speaks. So whatever is going on in the heart, you have to tend to your heart. You have to tend to, because then you tend to your thoughts, and you have to be a bridle on your mouth. If you're speaking, we are responsible for what we speak and also what we think. So I like to challenge people to think as they're coming, to be aware, to start to come into the awareness. And part of awareness is acknowledgement. I don't think we can really push people past that. You have to start willing to be able to acknowledge, oh, I did say something. My thought is contradictory to my love beliefs. I am thinking something that is harmful to another person. How do I, before I speak on it or say something, write something in a comment, how do I correct that? Let me keep it to myself and work on it in my heart so that it won't go out there. So I think that's really important. And kindness is the language of love. We all know love and compassion when we feel someone who's being empathetic, someone who's a good listener, someone who gives us eye contact when we're talking. That, even that alone is wordless, but it's validation. And we find comfort in those things. I think about Maslow's hierarchy of needs, of how we have basic needs, and those are, our food, and then it's justice, our love and belonging, and we go on up until we reach self-actualization. We have to not only have our fundamental needs, part of our fundamental needs is feeling just and being able to live in a world that does not feel like it is criminalizing us for just being ourselves. So I think it's a real work for us to do. We are in a pivotal time in this earth because we're 3 generations away, or not so much, but we have cellular memory of the things of the past, and things are just always
for 7 generations. And that's what we have to understand. We carry it for 7 generations
in our genealogical code. So we have to do the work to change, and transformation is always available. It's according to our yes.
That's it. It's like, I love that. It's according to your yes. And that's exactly what it is. Rule. I have really enjoyed you, and I'm going to shoo you backstage, and then I'll offer the microphone to Scott. Thank you so much for being here. I have truly, truly enjoyed seeing your beautiful face again. Mwah! So, dear sir, I say, sir, I'm going to offer you this microphone with the same question.
So the thought that strikes me, especially right at the beginning and outset of your question of kindness isn't criminal. I think about when I was talking before about the divisiveness of this world and of politics and everything, and how we don't think about what it truly means to be divided. Not only are we partitioning ourselves, but how much of ourselves are being partitioned off to be a part of. In order to be a part of something, what part of ourselves do we have to lose to be there? And in doing so,
Mm.
have we ever thought of taking a look at what group we may be a part of? And if being a part of it allows us to treat somebody less than we would want to be treated, what have we lost to be there?
Right.
Because we already realize this is not how I would want to be treated. This is not how I would want to be spoken to. This is not how I would want to have things done for me. I think about the fact I spoke on book bans.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I think we are so rapid fire in our thinking, we don't slow down enough to really grasp the reality of something. You said this on one of your earlier episodes.
Okay.
Think about the book bans. When laws are being passed to remove words from libraries, that means they are afraid of you authors. They are afraid of the words that you. So, as opposed to cowering back, when you write, you must write with the knowledge that there are those in power who fear your pen. Similarly, there are those who are afraid of who you would be if you did not partition and divide yourself down to fit within their paradigm, but stand whole in and of yourself.
That's it.
The world. I mean, it's said so often, together we rise, divided we fall.
That's it.
If we stood together as people, as human beings, as Angel was saying, Oliver, if we were earlier, if we treated each other as such, as opposed to boiling down and wasting and withering away our humanity down to literally a snippet of a soundbite, how powerful would we be? So when it comes to kindness, it is criminal. It is vitally necessary.
I appreciate that. I receive that full on love, and it's so true. And you gotta, if you so choose to become a part of the third wrap up conversation, I would love to start there in the golden rule of treating people how you prefer to be treated. And I so agree with you. The power of the pen. The power of the pen. I stay writing. I stay writing, and I bless God and ask God to keep and strengthen the mind and the hands so I can continuously write, because it is important to preserve my American history. Period. You know what I mean? And I would hope that those hearing this would be inspired by your words and what I've shared and what Angel shared, to preserve your American history, to have a look at how you handle politics and religion. Which one has more attention? Does your politics or your faith garner more of your attention, interest, and energy? These are great questions, and it is the questions that kick the wonderful answers. And I have to shout out to Trevor. I'm about to say Trevor Noah, not Trevor Noah. Trevor Otts, for that. Like, he was the person who, like, yes, I'd heard it before, but he was who sat with me and hammered that thought in. Those powerful questions, those forge your powerful answers. So I'm hoping to push folks back in their mind, back into themselves, to think and to feel and to listen and to watch and to look wholly, not from the lens that was offered, but wholly, and see, and I've shared this before, the climates of politics and faith have caused enslavements, murders, violence unspeakable, right? Upheaval, and holding these banners don't make it right. Right? So I just, I really am hoping that the conversation landed in the hearts that need it. I have some trolls who watch, hey trolls, and have opinions about the things that I talk about. And I hope that even while you're having your opinions, it's still seeping through. I hope the love is getting through, and the truth, and the wisdom, and the guidance, and the invitation to be wholly human and not a troll. It stands, right? So thank you so much for your time. I'm going to shoot you to the back and wrap this conversation up too. See ya. Okay, and you guys can definitely find Love Enlightens. That's Angel, and then Harold Consulting Group. That's Scott, and of course I am Sanctuary Experience, Sanctuary XP, SXP family. Shout out. We do have our 3-day women's event coming up September 20th through 22nd. Y'all, it's about to go down. I am in full mode for events, and I love this time. It is amazing. Like it's what we do in the lives of others is incredible. It is incredible. It's crazy. I'm going to say incredible and crazyable. We're making up words today. But if you have not had the pleasure of experiencing one of our 3-day women's experiences, you want to. If you know you need to be loved back to life, if you're a woman in leadership who is experiencing trauma, who is experiencing that I get so far, but something is yanking me back. I haven't let go. I don't know how to let go. All of this drama and extra drama and stress. Come on, let me love you back to life. And I don't do that alone. We meet in a beautiful location in Florida, have an awesome partner down here, affiliate partner Dallas Cohen, who comes in and she brings some of her methods. I bring my methods. We get together and we smash the methods together for SXP experience, and it's dynamic. And I think this is our 10th one or 9th or 10th one. So we, to us, yay, must celebrate. Do come be a part of what we're doing. See you next Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for this podcast. It goes live through BLASTMUSIC247. Please contact blastmusic247.com and do what Troy said do earlier, like participate. And then also follow me at Melikia K, Courtney, which is my personal YouTube, because I'm going to start building that up too. I enjoy this YouTube stuff. And there'll be content over there that won't be with Blast Music 247. So do join me for playtime over there. And Sanctuary Experience, you want to be a part of it. For our men, we do virtual things. If you are a man and you'd like to be loved back to life because you see the value, you understand that you need the help, here I am. Licensed coach. Here I am. No excuse. Okay. So I think we had a full conversation today. I really do hope that you enjoyed, and I'm hoping that we are able to think. Oh, it feels good. Turn off the TV, turn off the phone, get that computer away from you. Reduce the electronics and vibrations, and be still and be inside of you and think your own thoughts. And maybe some of the things you've heard, weigh that out before you go running your mouth like it's the absolute truth. If you haven't even taken time to verify it, come on now. We can be better. And kindness is not criminal. It's not. Kindness is not criminal. It is your friend. Be kind, be respectful, and be mindful. My skin is brown, but folks want us to call us black. Your skin's not white, but folks want us to call you white. Why is that? Folks want borders and pushing folks out of land that belonged to them at one time. Why is that? Get your question game up. Ask the questions that you need to ask. Why is it happening this way? What occurred first? Who's the responsibility and the on is on? And whose job is it now? Because we are here now and we get to do something about it now as a collective. What's your job? Vote. That's your job. All right. I think I said enough. We're at an hour and the debate's going to start. So I'm going to skedaddle and go on over there and watch that. I'll see you guys next time for SXP Metamorphosis 365. Thank you for your time. Please watch, like, share, subscribe. Thank you. I got to push the magic buttons, right? Because my magic button pushers, he gone.